You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
News Talk ZB and Weekend Sport, the final segment of the Blackcaps home summer, a 3-match T20 series against Sri Lanka. Tomorrow, Eden Park, Wednesday in Dunedin, next Saturday in Queenstown. Tom Latham's going to lead the side. Potential T20 international debuts for the Canterbury pair of Chad Bowes and Henry Shipley. Rachin Ravindra is back in the squad, as is Tim Seifert, who joins us now. Tim, thanks for taking the time. Congrats on your recall. 40 times you've played in T20s for New Zealand, but not since 2021. Did you always think your chance would come again?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me. Obviously, you always still try and perform for Northern Districts and get in the lights and get your name back in there and hopefully get selected again. So I always had a positive mindset after being dropped, and then always my goal was to wanting to play for the Blackcaps. So it was always on my mind, and I backed myself to try and get back into the team.
Across the domestic summer, obviously a very strong summer with, in T20 cricket with the Northern Knights and winning the local competition, of course. How happy were you with the way you batted in particular across the Dream 11 Super Smash?
Yeah, I was very pleased how I went. Also, the one-day cricket as well, kind of just the whole white ball campaign over the season, I was very pleased with, and obviously wanting to push for higher honours. So it was always the back of my mind, but obviously just wanted to do well for Northern Districts, and it was always nice to win the trophy and obviously make it back-to-back, which is always nice.
I remember speaking with you before the T20 final, and you said you'd looked for ways to increase your strike rate in T20 over the last little while. How did you look to do that?
I guess it's kind of just over the last couple of years, especially with Northern Districts, sometimes we found ourselves, losing a couple of wickets up top. And obviously this season, me and Carson, we had a great season up there. And I just thought, no matter what the situation, even if we are losing wickets or not, that you still want to keep that strike rate high and put pressure back on that opposition. Because even if the opposition are taking wickets, if you're still scoring down the other end, it puts the pressure back on them, and hopefully that creates some bad balls for the new partner coming in, but not only him but yourself. So, I think it was a bit of a mindset for myself to be a bit more positive up top.
So it wasn't necessarily finding new ways or new places to score runs. It was just keeping your intent nice and positive, regardless of what was happening in the match itself.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes you talk about shots. Sometimes it's about actually putting some shots away and just, I do back myself to play that 360-degree kind of game, but sometimes having all the shots is sometimes a weakness as well. Get a bit carried away. So, but no, it was nice to play that way, and sometimes it is just taking the easiest option out there.
And that's the other thing about T20 batting is when you are looking to score runs quickly, this seems so obvious. You do open up, a fair degree of risk, I guess, and different ways of getting out. Are you able now just to put that to one side and think, and I guess, not really have too much of a care about wicket preservation? Yeah,
100%. I think that's the big thing about it as well, is knowing that, you're not going to come off every game, and that's just part of cricket. Doesn't matter what format you're playing. If it was guaranteed runs, then everyone would be getting hundreds and having a great strike rate and all that kind of stuff. So that's just part of the game, and you just got to be, happy with yourself of how you play and also how you get out. If you do get out being a bit timid, that's when you can get a bit angry at yourself rather than taking that positive option. And if you do get out, then you go, right, I played how I wanted to play, and it maybe just came down to execution at the end of the day.
I look at the 13-man squad that's been named for these Sri Lankan matches, and yourself and Chad Bowes appeal as the most likely opening combination. Is that the role that you're expecting to play, to open the batting?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I'd say I'd be around that top three. But, obviously with Chad there, and I'm not sure where Tommy Lath is going to put himself as well. So I'd say it'll be around that top three, but obviously something that I'm very excited about. Haven't really played much with Chad, and haven't really played much cricket with Tommy as well. So I'm very excited to play with them both, and obviously learn from them. And Chad's had an outstanding domestic season over the last couple of years, so it'll be nice, potentially opening with him, or if I'm at three, then it'll be Tommy or Chad. So it'll be nice to play with them.
I see Tom Latham is listed as wicket-keeper as well as captain. Have you been given any indication as to whether you might keep wicket during these games?
Yes, I'm just playing as a batter in this game, so something a little bit excited about, have a wee run around in the field. So, it's one thing I do try and pride myself on is still keep my fielding up to scratch because, not only in New Zealand, but obviously some opportunities in franchise cricket that I've just played as a batter. So I've always tried to keep my fielding up to scratch because I do back myself to try and make teams just as a batter as well. So I don't want to stand out like a sore thumb in the park too much.
You don't want Tommy Latham to be saying, well, where are we going to hide? Tim Seifert in the field.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. You talk about franchise cricket. I mean, after last summer here at home, you played in the IPL for a bit, the Vitality Blast in England, then the Caribbean Premier League, back home for the domestic summer with the Knights. Are we at the point now, Tim, where if you wanted to, you could pretty much play T20 cricket all year round?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you still got to get selected, and obviously, that little stint there was obviously coming off a fairly good season with the BCs, and obviously that was the World Cup year as well. So being involved in those kind of big events do always help you with the selection for those kind of franchise crickets. But obviously, it's just a great opportunity with with only playing domestic cricket this season, and I just want to play as much cricket as possible. And if I'm hopefully involved in the Blackcaps series in the winter, but if I'm not, then it gives you opportunities to still be playing cricket, which is the main thing. But obviously, my number one focus is to play for the Blackcaps, and those franchise crickets hopefully fill the gap when I'm not playing.
Oh, that's good to hear. So you still have very strong ambitions to wear that black cap in different formats if you're selected.
Yeah, 100%. I want to play as much for New Zealand as possible, and not only in T20s. I think that's one of my big focuses going forward over the next year to 2 years is try and push my case into the other formats as well, and that's probably the one days more realistically at the moment, and then who knows if you keep on doing well in 4-day cricket, and it's only a few knocks away until you're knocking on the door. So for me, it's that big focus of pushing back into that T20 team, but also trying to push into this one-day team as well, obviously, with the World Cup coming up.
Great stuff. And Sri Lanka, obviously, they're at the back end of their tour. The 50-over series finished, last night. So I guess you guys will get together today, then you're out there tomorrow. So do you actually have much time to strategise against your opposition, or is it really just saying, OK, here's what we're all about?
Yeah, I think it's obviously the ODI boys, they've played them a lot, and obviously a lot of those ODI boys were involved in the test team as well. So they've been playing against them for a long time. So obviously it's such a quick turnaround from last night's game until tomorrow afternoon game. So I think today's pretty relaxed. We might catch up tomorrow, especially for the guys like myself and Nisham and Milne who haven't been involved in the ODI series. So we might have a look at their players, but sometimes you can kind of overthink that sometimes as well. So sometimes it's just getting in there and watching that ball and reacting at the end of the day as well.
All right. And after this, the team has a series in Pakistan, which you won't be travelling for because you're about to become a dad for the first time. How's everything going there? Yeah,
everything is going well, thanks. Wife is counting down the days until the wee man's out. So so obviously, you want to represent your country, but some things are bigger than cricket. So I've, thought staying at home was the best idea. And obviously, my first child, I want to be here for the birth. So it's very exciting, and hopefully he can stay in the stomach one more week, so I don't have to rush off if I'm in Auckland, Dunners or Queenstown.
Brilliant, mate. Well, look, it's a very exciting time for you in that regard, and a return to the national side as well. All the best for these 3 T20s, Tim, and for your upcoming parenthood, and thanks for taking the time for a chat.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Cheers.
That's Tim Seifert back in the New Zealand side for these 3 T20 internationals against Sri Lanka to wrap the home summer. Tomorrow, Eden Park, 1 o'clock start. Then midweek Wednesday at the University of Otago Oval in Dunedin, also 1 o'clock start. And a week today, next Saturday, at the Sir John Davies Oval in Queenstown. Final match of the home summer. New Zealand, Sri Lanka. That's also a 1 o'clock start in the third of those T20 internationals.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.